Like, didn't Bill Russell just kind of feel like a guy that you'd have around forever?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's like you said with Betty White. When those kind of people finally pass away, you think to yourself like, man, he didn't live forever. He didn't. That guy isn't that he was a human. That he's gone on. Yeah, I think that is something you look at. Betty White was, I guess, going to be 100 and passed away. Bill Russell at 88, all he accomplished in life. Those are moments, and these are moments in history that we'll all look at and we'll look back on and going, that was a cool time. It was a cool time for me to be. And one of the things people kept saying to me today, many times, said Celtic legend and another Celtic legend, Bill Russell, passed away. I said, dude, stop calling me a legend. I couldn't carry Bill Russell's jock around if I wanted to. He was that great. He's the legend. I'm a guy happened to play there, play well. I could be a Celtic great, but Bill Russell is the legend. And I'm just a guy who was there.
I appreciate that, Max. I really do. But I will tell you, I was saying to Evan before we started the show that I do believe, and maybe it's like semantics or whatever, but I do believe that there are, it's I don't know, there are roads or avenues or pantheons of Celtics greatness to where, like, yeah, like Bill Russell's in a league all his own. Like Larry Bird's not in Bill Russell's league, and Larry Bird is arguably the greatest Celtic of all time, and in the eyes of many, obviously. So, like, what you accomplished, obviously, on the floor and finals MVP, like we've talked about your accolades, those go in a certain category. But when it comes to, like, the broadcasts and your decades with the team since retirement, like, you're a Celtics legend, man. You are. It's just it's in a different way.
That's really cool to say. But when you think about legends, this man, when Martin Luther King was speaking, he was on the front row.
Yeah, he's sitting next to him.
He's sitting on the front row.
You got Kareem on the other side.
Right, yeah.
And you look at the pictures, Ali, all these people. He was there. I think I want to say somebody just told the story in 1964. At halftime of the All-Star game, at the All-Star game going to begin, Bill Russell said, guys, we're not going to play until we get a pension. And Wilt Chamberlain wanted to play, Russell didn't, and they took a vote, and they got the pension. They got the pension from the NBA. That was the strength of Bill Russell, who he was as a person, and a negotiator.
Yeah.
This dude was different, man. He's a different dude. As much as we want to talk about Kyrie Irving, Bill Russell was Kyrie Irving to the 10th power. Sometimes you didn't understand him. Sometimes he would go against norms. But man, what a great player and what a great person he was. His teammates could depend on him 110%. Russell, block this shot for me. Do this, do that. He was just that good.
Well, what's really funny too. So I was just talking to somebody earlier today after this happened, and they said to me, and they're not from Boston. They said, like, who was the bigger, who was the better trash talker, Bill Russell or Larry Bird? And I said, oh, I mean, it was Larry, because Larry was the kind of guy that would, like, he would tell you what he was going to do to you, and then he'd do it. Bill Russell was, at least, I didn't watch him firsthand, but what you read about, he was more the, the silent assassin type. Like, he would just go there. But I loved, like, and we've all heard this story, and it's floating around Twitter. There's the interview that it was many years ago, like when they were much younger, but after they'd retired, that Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain were doing together, talking about their rivalry, but also their friendship. And you hear Wilt going like, man, like, this guy, he'd come, he'd stay at my house, he'd eat my food, he'd hang out with my mom, whatever, and then he'd kick my ass.
That was Russell. But that tells you about that particular era. Yeah. That great players had to go to somebody else's house to eat.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't eat at Magic's house if they were giving away caviar and they got steaks all over. I wouldn't do that. I'd rather starve, bro. I would starve before I would be going to Magic's house or one of my competitors, Worthy or Dr. J. I wouldn't want to eat their food. But it was a different era where they had to have a certain relationship that bypassed basketball. It was just basic, just living,
Yeah.
or being able to go out and eat. Well, when
Yeah.
you get to town, my mom is going to cook because I know there's not a restaurant that's going to serve you.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know. I have it's hard to talk about Bill Russell in a podcast in 40 minutes. It's really tough.
No.
The one thing I'll say is Adam brought it up with Betty White. And it's not even really a question. It's just more of kind of a statement. The impact of Bill will live on forever, whether it's, the pension fund for the NBA or, the Bill Russell trophy that's given to the MVP of the finals. Like Bill Russell's legacy lives on forever through the NBA. And that's, if you have the ability to do that as a person throughout your life, never mind the magnitude of Bill Russell in the NBA, but like that, you've done it. We've done it right, and that's all. That's it. My only point is, if we all could just, strive to be a Bill Russell someday, maybe the world would be a better place.
If we could be a fraction, of what Bill Russell is, then we would have a much better world.
Yep.
Because not only was he, and we talked about his accolades as a player, but what he did for people to, go out and stand up to, racism. He didn't have to do that, but he did it because he felt that was right. So, guys, it was a pleasure getting on with you guys, man. And
great pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. And I'm sure we're going to retouch this subject many, many times.
Yeah. Oh,
without question.